Hi, today I'm going to show you how to make this card using a technique called Emboss Resist. The stamp set that we're using is called Snowflakes Foray, and you're going to ink up all of your stamps with Versamark. This is your Versamark pad. Before you ink up with the Versamark, go ahead and use your embossing buddy. You would just run it across the cardstock like this. Then you would stamp all of your images with your Versamark pad. You're going to put on white embossing powder, tap off the excess, and then heat it with your heat tool. When you're done, you're going to have all these nice white, shiny, embossed snowflake images. I stamped the greeting in the Pacific Point ink, and I wanted that to, I didn't want to emboss that one, I wanted that to stand out a little bit over the snowflakes. So I actually have two samples here. This is my mistake sample. I know you can probably hardly see it, but there's a tiny little ink there. So I figured I would still use this one to show you what not to do. And then on this one, I'll show you what to do. So you get this nice, soft blending of color. So the first thing you're going to do is choose the ink color that you want. I like Pacific Point because it's a nice medium blue. It's not too light, not too dark. You're going to use a stamping sponge. When you buy the stamping sponges, it comes in a pack of 3. I've already taken this one out and cut it into 4ths. If you're using the new firm foam ink pads, you're going to take your sponge. See how if you kind of grab it like that, you'll have a nice rounded edge. And on the new firm foam ink pads, you're just going to pat it to get some ink on your sponge. If you have the older linen style pads, you can actually rub the sponge across it. When you're going to add ink over the embossed image, I like to start right in the center. In case my ink is too dark, I can get rid of most of the ink there. And then when I start going outside the edge, it'll just naturally be a lighter shade. I don't want to go, I'll show you what not to do. So when you load it up with ink, you don't want to come across here and just start going really hard, just right off the gate. So see how you can see little swirly lines right there from the sponge? And you also don't want to just set it down and then just kind of move over, because see how you can get the line from the sponge. So what you want to do is you can tap it on your ink pad. If you think you have too much ink, just tap a little bit on your scratch paper. It's better to have too little than too much. And go right straight to the center of one of your snowflakes. And I'm just going really soft. I'm hardly putting any pressure at all. So see how much ink already gets on there? And the embossed image resists the ink. So I just keep going, and then I kind of gradually widen that circle. So I'm going in a soft circular motion, and then I just kind of start going a little bit wider till I get to the outside edge of the snowflake. And I'm really hardly putting any pressure at this point. It's better to have too little ink than too much. You can always go back and add more, but you can't take it away. So see how we've got a nice dark shade in the middle, and it gets a little lighter as you go outside. So you're just going to repeat that around. And if you think that's too much ink, just go ahead and tap some off on your scratch paper and then come back. And just keep going in a soft circular motion. I like doing this kind of technique. Now, that tiny little snowflake there, I'm actually going to use just the little tip of the sponge right there, just in the center. And I'm actually going to leave it for a second and come back and get the other one. And then I'm going to just go ahead and get rid of some of that ink here, because I just don't want to have too much when I go back over there. So now I'm still going in a soft circular motion, so now I can go back to these smaller ones and finish that sponging. So a lot of times in my classes, if my customers are not happy with how their sponging is looking, they're just not finished. They just need to keep sponging a little bit more to get that kind of soft fuzziness to it. So I'm going to finish this last big snowflake here. And I actually think I have a little one here I almost forgot about, so I'll just get a little ink on here as well. And then I'll come back and finish this one. you can blend the shading, so if it doesn't quite look right, just keep going, but it gets softer as you go outside the edge. So you can already see that we have darker centers, and then I'm going to come back over here and just kind of spread that out. Now if you're distracted by that little guy right there, I actually poked it with a poking tool. We'll figure out how to camouflage that later. So I'm going back here. Oh, I just want to blend this right here. So I just want to get this a little bit softer. And like I said, I'm really hardly putting any pressure on the sponge at this point. I'm just trying to blend it now. And then I don't want to forget to hit these edges here. So again, soft circular motion. And I wouldn't go right to the ink pad and then to the edge of the paper because it's just going to be too dark. So go ahead and get some of that ink off in the center of a snowflake and then come back to your edge of the card. And it's okay that a lot of the ink is getting outside of the card. You kind of want that. So I think that's actually looking pretty good. So you can just finish it up. I'm pressing harder now because there's less ink on the sponge. But any little areas that I think might need a little more blending, just take the time to just give it that one last little sponge around the edges. Now you can go back to your ink pad and hit the edges of your card just to make that a little bit darker. Depending on where you're sponging, some of the edges will be darker, and I like to kind of even it out at this point. So I'm just kind of hitting the edge. And see, that one's finished. It's ready for some pretty ribbon. And I'll go back to this card here. So you can see how it's darker in the middle, a little bit lighter as you get outside. I did go back around the edges, so it has some nice dark shading around there. And I decided to layer this onto Whisper White cardstock to make these snowflakes pop a little bit. And I did tie some white organza ribbon, just a simple little knot. Now here's another card using the exact same technique that we did at my class. This is using Wisteria Wonder, and I layered it on Wisteria Wonder cardstock and added some rhinestones to the center. So I hope you enjoyed the project and you'll give Emboss Resist a try. Thank you.